Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today, we're going to do a deep dive into Aston Martin's master plan for Formula One domination. And I'm not just talking about a single championship win.
You're right to be excited. We've got access to an interview with Aston Martin's new CEO and team principal Andy Cowell.
Wait a second, the Andy Cowell,
Yeah.
the mastermind behind Mercedes' hybrid era engine. That Andy Cowell, he's with Aston Martin now.
He is, and he's laid out some incredibly ambitious goals. He wants multiple championships, sustained success over many seasons, the whole thing.
He's basically saying that he wants to build a dynasty.
Mm-hmm.
And to think that just last year they were struggling to keep up with the rest of the pack. I'm really curious, what's Cowell's secret sauce here? How's he planning on pulling all of this off?
He uses a really cool analogy, actually. He compares the team's approach to repeatedly climbing Mount Everest.
Okay, so not just reaching the summit once, but going back again and again. That sounds like some serious dedication.
Yeah, exactly. What Cowell's saying is that this isn't just about winning one race. It's about changing the team's culture to one of just this relentless pursuit of excellence.
So it sounds like he's taking a long-term approach, trying to build up a strong foundation for the future.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that means they need to invest in innovation and make sure that they don't sacrifice future gains for short-term wins.
You got it. He talks about pushing the limits, coming up with new ideas, and not being afraid to take some risks. He actually has a great quote. If you do the same as has been done before or the same as everyone else is doing now, you will never reach new heights. You'll never win.
Wow. Now that's a really bold statement, especially when you think about Aston Martin's tendency to borrow ideas from other teams. Like, remember the pink Mercedes?
You're right. But it seems like Cowell wants to forge a new path, and he's got the specific plan for how to do it. He compares his vision for Aston Martin to a 1,000-piece puzzle.
Okay, interesting comparison. But how does a puzzle translate to Formula One success?
Well, every single piece of that puzzle represents a key part of the team, like the engineers, the designers, the mechanics, strategists, and the drivers. And just like a puzzle, if one piece is missing or out of place, the whole picture just doesn't work.
So it's all about having the right people in the right places and making sure they all work together smoothly. But how does that compare to other top teams, like Mercedes, where Cowell came from?
Well, that's where it gets interesting. Mercedes under Toto Wolff had a very top-down management style. All of the decisions came from the top, and everyone else followed Aston Martin's trying a different approach.
So if Mercedes is a pyramid, then what does Aston Martin look like?
I'd say it's more like a triangle with three key figures at each point. You have Lawrence Stroll, the owner of the team. He's the one providing the money and the overall direction.
Cool.
Then you've got Adrian Newey, the greatest aerodynamicist maybe in F1 history. He's got a technical share of the team and is the real driver behind the car's design. And then you have Andy Cowell, the CEO and team principal. He's the link between the two of them, the engine supplier Honda and the rest of the team.
So it's a more collaborative approach than that top-down style that Mercedes uses. It actually sounds a bit like Red Bull's structure, with Christian Horner playing a similar role to Cowell, coordinating the different departments and keeping everyone motivated.
You're spot on. The key difference here is that Aston Martin is embracing a multifaceted approach to leadership. And it just might be the deciding factor in their quest to dominate the sport. They're taking what works from the best while trying to beat them.
It's like a high-stakes chess match, where they're moving people and ideas instead of pieces on a board. I'm starting to get why people are so excited about Aston Martin's potential.
And it's not just about the team structure. Cowell highlighted a few key things he believes are absolutely critical to their success. It starts with the ambition and dedication of Lawrence Stroll.
Stroll has invested a lot in the team, built state-of-the-art facilities, and pulled in some really talented people. It's clear he's really serious about winning.
And then there's their technology. Cowell keeps talking about their really powerful CFD tools and the most advanced wind tunnel around.
For anyone watching who might not know, CFD stands for Computational Fluid Dynamics. It's basically using powerful computers to simulate how the air flows over the car. And the wind tunnel is a facility where they can put scale models of the car to test how the aerodynamics work in real-world conditions. Having the best of both of these is a massive advantage.
For sure. It means they can design and develop a car that's not just fast, but also incredibly efficient, which is a really big deal with the rules they have in place right now.
But it's more than just money and technology, isn't it? You need the right people to make it all work.
You said Cowell's been really impressed by how motivated and dedicated everyone on the team is, and he wants to build a culture of trust and creativity.
Yeah, he keeps mentioning this idea of contagious greatness. He thinks by bringing in people like Newey, It's going to inspire the whole team to reach another level.
He's betting that having a winning attitude will spread across the team and push everyone to perform at their best. It's an interesting approach, and it'll be cool to see if it works.
So they've got the drive, the money, the tech, the talent, and now it seems like they have the right culture and leadership. Anything else Cowell sees as crucial to their success?
Yeah, one more thing, and it's probably the most important of all. They have to learn from their mistakes. Cowell's been really open about the need to really analyze how they're performing, find places they can do better, and adapt quickly to new challenges. He's saying that just coming up with new ideas isn't enough. It has to make the car better on the track.
Really important point, especially after last season. They made more changes to the car than anyone else, but they still weren't very consistent. Just bolting on new parts isn't the answer.
Nope. It's about making sure that all those new ideas actually work and come together to make a much better car.
So they need to be strategic,
Mm-hmm.
avoid quick fixes, and focus on building a car that's really solid at its core.
You got it. They need to build a car that's quick in the corners, a car that is quick everywhere, a car that is faster than the others, as Andy Cowell put it, which is a tall order when you think about who they're going up against.
You mean Mercedes and Red Bull? The two teams that have been at the top for what seems like forever?
Exactly. Mercedes have been the ones to beat for so long, consistently winning championships and breaking all kinds of records. But even dynasties can crumble. Their 2024 season wasn't exactly their best, and they lost some key players, including Andy Cowell. Could this be Aston Martin's chance?
Maybe, but I wouldn't rule Mercedes out. They still have a ton of money, a team full of amazing engineers, and Lewis Hamilton, arguably the best driver of all time. Underestimating them would be a big mistake.
Yeah, you're right. They have the experience, the resources, and they've proven they can come back from tough times. But there's no question that things are changing, and Red Bull is the team to beat right now. They really seem to have figured out the new rules, and Max Verstappen is driving like a man on a mission.
It is crazy how fast Red Bull climbed to the top. They went from being contenders to champions in no time.
And that's the kind of jump Aston Martin's hoping for. They're learning from Red Bull's structure and trying to take them down at the same time.
Sounds like a risky move. Trying to learn from the master and outsmart them at the same time. Should be interesting to see how that plays out.
And then there's Ferrari. They've had their good and bad times lately, but you can never count them out. They have the resources, the history, and some of the most passionate fans in the world. That all pushes them to be better.
So it's a three-way fight for the top with Aston Martin trying to break into that group. But going back to Cowell's vision, he's not aiming for just one championship. He wants to build something that lasts for years.
Right. He's not looking for short-term wins or one-hit wonder. He wants to create something that lasts and that needs a completely different way of thinking.
He's talked about how important it is to invest in new ideas and push the boundaries. But there's a difference between bold innovation and making expensive mistakes. How do you avoid falling into that trap?
I think that's where the contagious greatness comes in Cowell's betting, that if he surrounds himself with really smart people and creates a culture of trust and working together, they can minimize those risks and really increase their chances of success.
So he wants to make an environment where people feel like they can speak their minds, challenge the way things are done, and push the limits without being afraid to fail.
Exactly. He's trying to build a team where everyone, from the newest engineer to the most experienced designer, feels like they can contribute and make a difference.
Kind of like a hive mind, where everyone's working together, constantly learning and getting better.
And that brings us back to the 1,000-piece puzzle. To make that happen, every piece has to fit perfectly. They need to find and keep the best people, build a winning culture, and of course develop a car that can beat everyone else.
Seems like a lot to ask. But Cowell seems to have a clear plan, and he really believes they can do it. But belief isn't enough, is it? They need to be perfect, adapt to challenges, and get results on the track.
Absolutely. The pressure is going to be huge, especially because everyone's expecting a lot from Andy Cowell. But if they can pull it off, if they can build that culture of excellence and turn it into wins on the track, it would be pretty amazing.
It would be the kind of story everyone would talk about. Proof that ambition, innovation, and pure determination can make anything happen.
Yeah, and it would totally change Formula One. We haven't seen anything like it in years. Imagine Aston Martin, the team that could barely score points a couple of seasons ago, suddenly fighting for the championship and taking down the biggest names in the sport.
It's exciting to think about, and everyone's waiting to see what happens. We're talking about a new dynasty here, a shift in power that could completely change Formula One.
And who knows, maybe a few years from now we'll look back at this interview with Andy Cowell and say that was the start. That's when Aston Martin began their climb to the top.
It's a story that's just starting, and I can't wait to see what happens. But before we get too far ahead of ourselves, There's one key part of Aston Martin's plan we haven't even talked about yet, the human element.
Good point. We've discussed structures, strategies, and resources, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to the people. Formula One is a team sport, and you can only succeed if everyone works together.
And that's why COWELL'S focus on that contagious greatness culture is so important. It's not enough to just have talented people. You have to create an environment where those people can really shine, where they feel like they can contribute their best, and where they're always pushing each other to be better.
It's about creating a shared sense of purpose, this feeling that they're all part of something bigger than themselves. That kind of culture can be incredibly powerful. It's the difference between a team that just does well and a team that wins over and over.
Yeah, it's that feeling that you're a part of something special that can really take a team to the next level. But it's not just about the engineers and the designers.
No, not at all. It's about everyone who plays a part in making the team successful. The mechanics, the strategists, everyone.
And of course, the drivers. They're the ones who take all that hard work and turn it into results on the track. Speaking of drivers, let's talk about Fernando Alonso for a minute. He's a two-time world champion, known for just never giving up and always pushing for perfection.
Yeah.
How do you think he's going to fit into this new Aston Martin culture?
Honestly, I think it's the perfect match. Alonso's ambition and drive are exactly what COWELL'S looking for. He's a winner who still wants more, and I think his presence is going to have a huge impact on how the whole team thinks.
He's not afraid to push his team to the absolute limit, and he expects everyone around him to be at their best. Some might say he's a little demanding, but that's the kind of attitude you need if you want to win championships.
Yeah, and let's not forget about Lance Stroll. He's gotten so much better over the past few seasons, and having Alonso as a teammate is only going to push him even further.
It's going to be fun to watch how that plays out. Two incredibly talented drivers, both with something to prove, pushing each other and the team to be better. It's the kind of rivalry that can create something truly special.
And that's what makes this whole Aston Martin thing so interesting. It's not just about building a fast car. It's about bringing together all these talented people, creating an environment where they can be their best, and setting them on a course for greatness.
It's a huge risk, a gamble that could either be a massive success or a total failure. But no matter what happens, it's going to be exciting to watch.
And that's why this is such an interesting story.
Ah.
It's a reminder that anything is possible if you have the right people, the right attitude, and the belief that you can do it.
This is a story about ambition, innovation, and always striving for the best. It's a story that's just getting started, and we're lucky to be here to watch it unfold. So get ready, because it's going to be one heck of a ride.
Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss any of our deep dives into the world of Formula One. And if you like this one, share it with your friends and anyone else who loves F1. Let's see what this new era of Aston Martin has in store for us.